In this session, we're going to be adding product attributes to our product. Right now in the product section, we don't have a store listed or a category listed, but I'm going to put in WAP, which is the beginning of our Wapello County product, and click search. There's our Wapello County Tech Workshop. So we're going to click edit. Here we are in the edit product details, and 4 tabs over, I have product attributes. Now, when I click add a new attribute, this is going to give me a list of all the currently defined attributes in the CSU Extension test store. If I want to define a new one, I need to do that from another page, not this page, but in products, product attributes, I can add pre-existing predefined attributes. So let's click add a new attribute. Here we are on the add a new attribute page. We're going to add 2 attributes to this product. It's a computer workshop, so we want to A, find out what the name of the attendee is, and then B, find out what email address they would like to use to be contacted. So we're going to go to the attribute list and see if these are existing attributes here in the Colorado State Test Store. I'll use the pull down, and I have attendee names right here. So I'll select that. My text prompt will be first and last name, which I've added here. This is going to be a required field. We don't want to use a drop-down list, but we will use a simple text box. We don't need to mess with the display order. We don't need a minimum length, a maximum length, or a default value. So I'll simply click save. And we've created our first attribute for this product, attendee names. We'll do this one more time, add a new attribute. And at this time, we'll use the drop-down menu to find email, which is right here. My text prompt will be your email address. This will be a required field. This will be a simple text box. We don't have a display order to worry about, minimum length, maximum length, or default value. So I'll add this second attribute. And we now have attendee names and emails as attributes added to our product. Let's save this and then look in our public store to see what it looks like. By the way, whenever you're working on a product, going to the public store, particularly in the test store, will give you a sense of what you've been building. We'll go to counties, we'll go to Wapello County and Wapello County Workshops. Here we have the Tech Workshop, the Wapello County Tech Workshop, and when I click add to cart, I see that we have the 2 product attributes that I've added in the test store, the first and last name and the email address, both required. Notice that the text I added for the prompt text shows up here above the dialog boxes. Let's take this a step further. Let's say we want to add an attribute to the Wapello County Tech Workshop that is not currently in the list of possible attributes here in the store. We're going to add an attribute now. We're going to go to Catalog, Attributes, Product Attributes. This will bring up a list of every attribute that's been defined here in the test store. What I want to find out from the end user, from the person coming to this workshop, is if they're bringing their own computer or not. First thing you'd want to do is look through the product attributes and make sure that that product is not listed on here. I'm certain of that, so I'm going to click Add New. And then the product attribute is going to be called Bring Computer. I'm going to leave the description blank. The description will show up on the end user's screen when they go to their cart, and I'd rather have the text prompt that I define in the product attribute to determine that text. So I'll leave the description blank. We're going to save this. You need to save the attribute before you can define the predefined values. Here's our Bring Computer field. We're going to click Edit again. This time we're going to go to Predefined Values, and we're going to add 2 new values, yes and no. So add a new value. This first value will be yes. We're not going to be changing the price or anything on this. We're not going to pre-select it. We'll simply click Save. It shows up here on the list. We're going to add 1 more value. We're going to call this value a no. And again, we're not adjusting the price based on this. So we'll click Save again. So now we'll save this and continue our edit. We've defined our new product attribute and we've given it two values, a yes and a no. So now I'm going to go back to my product to add this. I'm going to search for WAP, which will give me Wapello. I'll click Search. Here is our product. I'll click Edit. And again, 4 tabs over, I have product attributes. Now when I click Add a new attribute, when I use this pull down, we have the Bring Computer attribute, which we didn't have before. Will you be bringing your own computer? My text prompt is next. This will show up on the end user screen. Will you be bringing your own laptop? I'm not going to make this a required question, though you of course could, particularly if you wanted to know how many laptops you needed to bring to make sure everybody in the class had a laptop. The control type will be a drop-down list. We're not going to bother with the display order. I'll click Save, and then we'll go look at this in the public store. Here are our 3 attributes, the 2 required ones, attendee names and email, and then the non-required attribute of will you be bringing your own laptop. So let's go to the public store. We'll go to counties, Wapello County workshops. Here is our workshop. I'll go to my cart, and here are our 3 attributes. First and last name, email address, both of these are required, and then will you be bringing your own laptop, the yes or no pull down. And that is how to add product attributes to a product.